objectification. Let's look at bodies, man. Women, man them, and the female form.
I like the little...
Yeah.
You're wiggling now.
And I just think, let's talk about it. That's a big one, okay? And, you know, are you okay? Like, you getting dehydrated? Like,
no, I'm cool.
The question, like, oh, shoot.
I was going to take a sip now. I don't want it to look like, you know.
I'm good.
But one area, like something like me and Very were talking about the other day, was just about, let's talk about periods, man.
Okay. Actual periods.
Yeah, as in what women have when the egg gets released, and you heard of that before? And I think just growing up,
have you heard of that before?
No, like some men don't want to talk about it, and I think like let's go back to it. Are you okay? Like you're just. I'm trying to psych you out.
Really?
For me, this part of the comment was cack for me.
Yeah.
Cat.
I played football today, so I'm aching. That's why I'm a bit.
I know. I'm just trying to make you to
Do you know what it is? I spent most like 20 years living with my mum, my grandma, my aunt. Periods are cat to man. Underwear is cat to me. The amount of times I put them on the washing line and off the washing line. Like, yeah. Let's talk.
Tick. Yeah.
So, in terms of actual periods, like, what did you want to speak about?
I talked about the stigma. There's a lot of stigma, and I think now moving forward, we are seeing, periods being less of a taboo and being out in the public arena. But I know growing up, a lot of women. How men spoke to them about their periods was a source of shame. It still is in a lot of cultures. And I just wondered if you guys had to go through your own journey of like, oh, this is icky, gross, I don't want to talk about it, to a point where now you're like, actually, I try to empathise with women a bit more. I don't know if that's something.
I mean, I was actually speaking to my missus about this the other day. And yeah, obviously growing up in and around women, I've seen it. Do you know what I mean? It's a natural occurrence. So for me, yeah, it's not a thing. But in terms of also, for example, I like to feel that I'm quite open in speaking to women about it. In regards to my job, for example, as you guys know, I'm a PT, obviously. So I take away the taboo when it comes to PT sessions, and I always say to them, look, if you have that time of the month, let me know and I'll change the exercises or I'll make it a bit easier for yourself. Do you know what I mean? So I've made it so my clients feel comfortable to talk to me about that. And I'm showing that I'm open to talking about that sort of thing. So in a professional aspect, it happens, well, I'd say quite regularly, where
Monthly.
I've talked to...
Monthly?
Yeah. A few of my clients, they just give me that little... nod like, yeah, it's that time, and I'm like, cool.
Yeah.
But I won't sit here and say I get into deep conversations with women about it. But
would you ever buy a tampon? Have you ever bought tampons and pads?
Yeah. I bought like 2 weeks ago.
I don't think I have. No.
No, you've never.
No, I donated some though.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Period poverty.
You got your own collection.
Well, Pause. Let me explain that one.
Yeah. No, period poverty.
Period poverty, because I mentor and stuff. We mentor at a physical space, and one of my friends, she works with Crisis every year. So she was like, listen, hold these tampons. I know that you mentor, like see if any of the young queens can have them. And it's like, yeah, cool. But she thought that I would have been a little bit of a way about. I'm like, nah, it's 5 months. It's calm. Tampons, boom.
No,
I bought some 2 weeks ago, yeah? This is older Jay you're talking to. But back in the day when I was a kid, and it was my mum saying, go Tesco or whatever and get me tampons, like, you would have seen me then walking sheepishly to the aisle. Like,
rattled.
This is not my world. I'm in these big aisles with all these female things.
So many options.
I'm like, shit. I'm all like, shit. What did she say? Wings?
Stuff.
What do you mean wings? Extra absorb? What is all of this? Like, so you'll find me in Tesco as this little kid just wandering around like, I don't even want no one to see me, you know. And obviously Tesco was in rap, so any of my boys could have just been like, what are you buying tampons for? Could have been funny. But that is how I saw it. Like, if I got caught with them and one of my boys saw me, fuck if it's for my mum. They're like, you're holding female stuff. Like, what's going on? So, yeah, that was younger, Jay. Obviously, you go through maturing and seeing it is for what it is, and then you get a wiser mind. But me as a kid, I didn't want to be seen with it. The bag had to be dark, like not none of them white Tesco bags.
The bag that they put Henny in that.
Yeah. That blacked out, tinted off bag.
Say, yo, you got a Hennessy bag.
School bag, bro. Like, boom. The bottom as well.
And
that's even after I've told all my friends, yo, I'm going Tesco for something else. These times it's tampons for my mum.
Okay.
And it's going in my school bag. So no one sees it.
Okay, let me just throw out a curveball. Sex on your period.
Oh.
Yeah.
You could start that
one. What's that mean?
What's that?
What do you mean? I could start that. No. So sex during periods. What as in do I? Or what's the question? Oh, sorry. Well, we're getting into it, innit?
Yeah.
I would rather not during.
Why is that?
I
thought this is all cap for you, man. You had it on
I mean,
man.
obviously talking about it, but there's a difference
Man
between.
don't have to dive in.
Literally dive in.
Obviously, there's a difference between like the
Riding
natural
the crimson
periods
wave.
going through and saying, listen. Diving in. To me, there's a difference.
It's fine. You just do it in the shower. Then it's clean anyway.
Put a towel down.
Put a towel down in the shower. What?
Put a towel down on the bed.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, that spun me.
Well, we've got all the ways of getting around.
Yeah, there's ways, but I'm just saying because go on. I just don't want to interrupt you. Go for it.
That was it. I just rather not. There has been times where it's happened.
Oh, I didn't know. Oh, sorry. Am I? Oh my god, one of them ones. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'll just be like, listen.
That
by the way, it's just so you know, it's like, what? See what? No, I didn't even know.
The ones where you get told you started it.
Yeah, it's
you
pushed
that button. And it's like, it was me.
You know what? Yeah.
Are you okay there, Joey? Joey. Yeah. Joey's everyone all right?
I remember one time, like going. It started. I was like, oh, by the way, like you started. And she's like, oh, I wasn't supposed to start for like 4 days.
That old chestnut.
You pressed the button. You pressed the button. I was like, did I?
And
double tap.
But
yeah, afterwards I was like, nah, I got played.
Always, yeah. 1-1.
Same question.
It's your turn, Mo.
Yeah. I mean, me, it's not a preference still.
Okay, why not?
I'm just a bit squeamish like that.
Why squeamish? Because when you guys are watching all your like kill, murder, like
that's on the TV screen.
And this is an issue. So go on, go for it.
I hear you.
Yeah,
I hear you. But yeah, this one there's no turning back for me. Preference no, and I won't sit here and say I haven't either. Like there's them roasty times where you're like, oh, all right, you know what I mean, and whatever. But so it's happened, but as a preference, like it won't roll around that time of the month, and it's like, let's go, like as standard.
Okay.
So yeah.
No, I wonder because there's still a lot of stigma about, periods. And I know in Southeast Asia, like women, I think it's in Nepal, like if they're on their periods Nepal's not in Southeast Asia, I don't think. Obviously it's separate places in Asia. If they're on their periods, they actually have to go to period huts, like literally, I think in India. They have to go to huts for like 7 days and just sit in the hut until their periods are done. There's other cultures as well in Asia where like if you touch, like they say like you will make a mayonnaise curdle when you're on your period.
Wait, what?
Yeah, honestly, there's even in the particular type of church, I don't know if you've seen it, it's called people call it white garment church. Have you seen it? Or celestial churches where, have you not seen those like African churches where they all wear white?
Oh,
yeah, white garment churches. And in those sort of churches, if a woman's on her period, she's not allowed in the church until she's done. And this is happening now, currently. So it's still a big issue.
How do they know?
Well, I guess again, it's about like women self-judging themselves. Oh, I'm on my period, I can't come in.
Obviously it's probably instilled in them.
Yeah, it's instilled in them.
You're not pure, like you're not clean.
Yeah, you're not ritually clean. I think it comes from maybe like Leviticus in the Bible, which is in the Old Testament, which talks about that sort of ritual uncleanness. Like even in that, it says you can't wear earrings. So it's a really hardcore. So even though you guys seem to be very forward about it, there's still a lot of men who feel like it is a dirty thing. Or
I can't lie, I got boys that probably still look at it as
it's nasty, but it's not that deep. Like,
Yeah.
whilst it's not my preference to copulate during, it's not that deep.
Definitely. But I think
some guys love it though. Like some guys have got an actual fetish for it. Like they really want to.
It's called riding the crimson wave.
Yeah.
Whoa.
It's a whole Google. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm just looking at these seats.
Yeah. You're right. It's like,
I'm literally riding the crimson wave. Wow, that's a man still.
Just
woo.
And I know
got red on that as well.
Yeah, exactly, man. You came. You were ready for this.
I got a little strap.
And also as well, like in some places, I think it's again in Asia, they are actually having days where they give women a couple of days a year just to be on their period because obviously debilitating cramps and so forth. And I was wondering what your thoughts were. That's one way a particular culture is trying to be a bit more progressive about women in their periods, giving them period days off work, like annual leave. Do you think that's something that is feasible in this country? Do you think it's
feasible? Yeah. Will it happen?
Workable?
No.
Okay.
I can't see it happening in this country. And again, this country is not a pioneer for things. It will wait till someone else does it, wait till it gains traction, then do it and say we were the first to do it. Bullshit. So yeah, I can't see that one gathering pace here. But in regards to what they are doing, I think that is good because look, I've never felt a period before in my life, but more than one time I've been either kicked in the balls or a ball's been struck and it's
I want to get off after
shit
that.
is excruciating. So just trying to put that into a constant feeling over a few days or even up to a week
for about 30 years.
Yeah, that is mad.
Yeah.
So yeah, I do feel for you guys in that respect. And at the same time, I do thank my lucky stars. I was born a guy.
For many reasons, I'm sure.
Yeah, holding a lot of power in society. Yeah.
My answer to that is the same as Jay's as well.
Ditto.
I don't think it will happen here because I think when you think about, is it female sanitary products that have, is it VAT on them?
Yeah.
And that's
Haven't they just removed that?
They've
though?
just removed it quite
Okay,
recently.
yeah, but look how long that's taken.
Yeah.
Like, when was it, in the last year or so?
Yeah, about
Yeah.
that,
Charging
yeah.
you to be on your period.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, they see it as a luxury good when it...
You know, so
is
if it's taken so long for that to happen, having allowing flexibility for women to be off when they're going through a period, I don't see that happening for, if it even did happen in a long time. Like Jay said, it might happen somewhere in, like, I don't know, like France, for example, and then we'd say, ooh, that's progressive. Yeah, let's take that.
Yeah.
And try and put our spin on it and talk about, oh, we're so great. Look at how progressive we are, etc.
Body hair.
Yeah, what's your opinion on body hair? Like, everywhere. Should a woman like have to shave? Do you like?
It's not should we. What are your thoughts on it? And be real.
What's
guys.
my thoughts?
Yeah. Like, say if you took a girl home and she had like hairiest legs, hairiest everything,
armpits, boy. Woo!
Is that going to be a turn off? Is like, I mean, you're probably still going to go there. Let's be honest.
Fornicate.
Yeah.
No,
Please stop
Lord.
using the word fornicate.
I know.
It's so.
Is your mum watching this or something? Like, what's going on?
Huh?
Is your mum watching
Yo,
this?
my mum's hella behind on the episodes. Mum, come on, man.
Not too soon, mum. Yeah.
Please catch up. But no, yeah, I'd be thrown off and spun because, to be real, it's just not what I'm used to. Like, I would just be surprised if I saw, like I said, armpit hair, leg hair. I would be very surprised. Like, if I took someone home.
But would you lose attraction? Like, I mean, what is your preference?
No. So I wouldn't lose attraction. Preference-wise, yeah, I suppose I've been conditioned to expect a woman to be shaved to some degree.
Yeah.
So if it wasn't, I'd be like, raw, but I wouldn't like be turned off like that. No.
How about you, Jay? Be real. We'll still love you. We'll still love you, don't worry.
I prefer the cleaner still.
Yeah.
But that's interesting terminology you've used. Honestly, I feel like I'm at you today, Matt. But I love you, Jay. I swear to God, like, I swear.
What you got for me, Liz?
I really feel like me and Liz are like good cop, bad cop today.
I know,
Go on.
but I just feel like the terminology about it being cleaner. Why is it cleaner if I shave off my armpits? If I'm still having a bath, I'm having a bath. Why is it cleaner for you in your experience?
Because actually, scientifically, is it not cleaner to have the hair because the hair like catches.
It's actually then it protects your skin as well.
But if you're about to eat a pum pum, you don't want anything caught in there, so you need
the same way you're
clear pathway, innit?
But the same way you're like breaking out a bone in it, and you're spitting out the marrow. You can spit out the hair now.
We have to spit out the hair.
It will spit out the hair all the time. Not every man shaves their balls.
So can I say I do shave? So that's what I'm used to.
Big up Manscaped, yeah. Your ads are everywhere. Don't worry, I invested 2.0 thing.
Yeah.
You get me? I'm sure
but
you
why can't you eat a pump?
Nah, 3.0 now.
Why can't I what?
When a girl's got to kiss all this beard gang behaviour, like
no one
it's only hair.
You look attacked.
Bro, I was spotted. Like, hold on a minute. Well, let's go back to my preference. Anyway, like we said, I just prefer a clearer runway.
Yeah.
Fully clear.
To land my plane.
Fully clear.
It doesn't have to be clear because then again, that's a bit creepy as well, to a certain extent. So I don't mind a little hair. You can have your little design, whatever you want to do.
Brazilian.
So all good. Brazilian.
But you just think in your mind, you think it's clean enough for that to happen. That's
so
what
all
you've
right.
been told.
Let me clear up what I mean. So
pun intended.
Literally maintenance.
Okay.
I would like you to maintain yourself, as do I. So I know it's all about us.
You know your male is showing. Your male is showing here.
I know, and
I would like you to maintain
because I want other guys to be able to relate and say, "Oh, I think like that too." And
I think a lot of men feel like that.
Right.
Yeah.
So, like I was saying, I'm of the preference of none because, I just prefer that.
Okay, for you. And I just think it's very interesting the terminology you use about maintenance. It's like if a woman fails to like not maintain that area, then it's like she's failing. Like
just clearing up on that a bit. Okay. Example, shaven down low, fine. Clean, fine. But it's
still clean with hair.
I'm not saying it's
clean
my clean shaven is the word, yes. But from my perspective, I don't want to see your pubes sticking out the side.
But it's natural, like
I know it's natural.
But why is that a bad thing? Why are we getting judged?
I didn't say, and let's be clear, I didn't say it's a bad thing. I'm just saying my perspective on things, and my perspective is probably the bad thing because I'm saying I don't want to see pubes coming out the side. So I'm probably wrong for that, but that is my preference.
And it's the general preference, which...
But I think it's come from, where does it come from? And I actually, a little bit of facts, man.
Here she comes.
Yeah, with my music. The history of hair. I found it really... Yelling my little beat. But I found it fascinating when I was reading up about it. Like cavemen, they shaved because it made them more competitive when they were fighting other people. Shaved their head, shaved off all that. So obviously they weren't grabbing hair, and then it was going on about like Egyptians did it more for cleanliness, so that's where it initially first came from, that perception. Yes, but then by the time the Romans did it, they shaved hair because it was more of a status thing, like if you were richer you shaved and so forth. But then it was really fascinating in the 1900s, the reason why this whole barrage of women shaving, it was actually Gillette in 1915. They just wanted to sell razors to women. So the way they did that, in the 1915, they just wanted to sell razors to women. So the way they did that was like, you have to shave if you want to be more womanly. And in 1915s, that's when sleeveless outfits started becoming really popular. So like women obviously no sleeves and stuff. So that's when they started shaving because of the whole advertising from Gillette then as well. And then by World War II in 1945...
How do you remember all this?
I'm a sad girl, man. I'm a loser. But I thought it was fascinating. But it's by 1945 when during World War II, Great Britain particularly had like run out of nylon, which they used to like make stockings and tights. So women had more bare legs. So because of that, they shaved more, and that's how it's continued. This thing. So even when before Joey was talking about like I've just been conditioned to it. Yes, you have, because of advertising has told us. But there's a reason why advertising told us to make more money off women.
Listen, I feel attacked today, so I'm just gonna bat one right back. Certain women are like, yo. I don't like him with a hairy chest or a hairy back or
I love
whatever.
Hair. I love hair.
And again, it's down to the preference of women. I know women that love that. Oh, I love hair because it shows manliness. And then there's women that say, I don't like it. So again, I prefer not to have the wispy thing. And some
But
men
the difference
prefer-
is-
but there are guys who do like that. Like
Yeah,
you said,
I
there's
know.
guys that like the
Riding.
period blood thing and riding the crimson chair and them
Yeah.
thing there.
And there's
And there's guys that don't.
Yeah.
plenty of guys that will just take what they're
I
given.
think it's preference. Absolutely. I'm with you. It's absolutely preference. But I think there's a pejorative thing when it's like the male gaze. Like some women
a
like
wide perspective.
Yeah.
Yes, and some women like hairy chest, some women don't. But a woman's not gonna be like, oh, you haven't maintained your chest. Like, oh, do you know what I'm saying? What's all this wiry thing? Either you like hairy chest or you're not. But I think with women, it's very much like we have to, like, there's a massive beauty industry of just waxing and removing of hair.
Yeah, if you
And
don't,
that is
you don't
because of
know
male
type of thing.
gaze. And when women do it, when women don't do it, it's like we're seen as less attractive. Oh my God, she let herself go. She hasn't maintained. But when a man has his hair and chest out or not, it's a preference. But when a woman doesn't do it, it actually is connecting to her attractiveness. And that's my issue with hair. But yeah.
I just wanted to bat one back.
Okay, but no, it's still love. It's still love. But I love that you're being honest. We're trying to say this is where are these core beliefs coming from,
And this
you
is
know,
society
definitely.
today.
Yeah.
If we challenge that, that's why we're going to understand why people are not sticking up for women in the workplace and in other surroundings.
Yeah.
Yeah, deep core of it.
It is. So, like, moving on to dating now. Are
you okay, Joey? Your face just screwed up. Like,
No,
you're sweating, man.
This is asking everyone if they're alright. Yeah,
Do you know
alright,
what?
yeah.
I thought I was going to sneeze there.
Yeah.
So hay fever in that.
Okay.
Don't sneeze out the truth.
Do either of you think that, I mean, obviously you're in a relationship, but in general terms,
I'll
or
have to
just,
answer this
or,
then,
or your friends, even like obviously observing your friends, do you think that men's approach to dating has changed since the Me Too movement? Do you think men are more shook than they used to be? Or do you think that men are men and they're just going to continue to do their focus?
I said so I guess I'll start off. I don't think it has made a massive difference in terms of how they approach. If it does, I've not seen it like at all. In terms of a different approach, things pretty much look the same as before.
Do you get like conscious of how like you might come across to women? Like, obviously going back to what Liz was saying earlier about I may destroy you and the different lines of consent, for example. Is that something that as a man that you're aware of, or you are conscious of?
Yeah, so that's something that I'm personally super conscious of. But I think that's due to like a personal experience I had when I was younger that made me really think about, I suppose, what consent and things like that look like. So growing up, I've just always been conscious of that. And I think as well, around it, I probably try not to personally overextend myself. So I'll give you one example of like a date I went on like years ago, where I kind of went back to hers, and it's kicking off, and she was just like, "Oh, like just so you know, like we're not having sex." I was like, "Yeah, cool, it's fine." So obviously we're still chilling and whatnot. I stayed the night, think into the morning, chilling, watching TV, and I was like, "Oh yeah, like I'm gonna go now." And she was like, "Oh, like you didn't make a move." I said, "Move what? Move for what?" She's like, "You said we're not having sex. Took you by your word. Like, what further move needs to be made?" She was like, "Oh, but I thought, you like try." It was like, "What? After you said no?" Nah, what type?
It's very common though.
Like, what type of man do you think I am? Like, once you say like this is not happening, like I'm not touching you. And
Challenge accepted for me.
And I don't mean that in a like fuck off. Then I mean that in a cool, if it's not happening tonight, it's not happening tonight.
Yeah,
type of thing. And then we was having a conversation, and in her head, she saw that as me rejecting her.
I felt like that.
And I'm saying, no. I just listened to what you said in the moment. That's all that happened, like, and what I appreciate as well is we're both smashed at the time. So I don't do this like it's all you need is one yes. Forget the others. Like, I don't need any of that. So kind of when it comes to consent, like whilst I know there's probably a lot of men that would have probably still tried to, what are you talking about type of thing, and try to turn it into a I'm just not on that. And I think also that is probably a big problem as well, in terms of what that looks like. Like for me personally, I just see it as it's such a thin line between sex and something else sometimes. And I don't want to be colourful with what, like, jumping over lines, etc. So once you say something like that, all right, cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Like, listen, done, innit? But there's a lot of people that play and skirt around with that, which is wild.
Yeah, no, it's true. I once got into a situation with a guy where, like, we gone back to his, and I'd been like, no, and then it started to get a bit heated, and I was like, no, like, I literally told you no, and he was like, yeah, you told me no with a yes tone. I was like, wow, what does that even fucking mean?
A yes tone.
This is a new thing to
Like,
me.
That's a new one. That's a new one.
He was like,
he made it up on the spot.
Yeah. He was like, I could just tell, like, you were saying no, but, you know, there's basically implying that it was like that was a turn on for me, like, because I was saying no, but I really meant yes. And he was like, it was in your eyes. Yeah, I fancied him, but I just didn't want to do it there and then. Like, and I'd made that very clear, but unfortunately, he thought that he was just gonna to try his luck, and then he was like, "Well, you know, you came back here, and this happened, and you've been flirting all night, and blah." I'm like, sorry, does that is that just mean that it's a go then? Like, right up until the point that you're inside me, I can still say no. Yeah, I can still change my mind.
Even during, you can change your mind as well.
Yeah, but men, I think that's the
or
issue.
even in a relationship, I can say no. That's like a classic one. Like, I've definitely been in a relationship where the guy was like, when he wanted sex, we had to have it there and then. And then sometimes I would try and initiate it, and he'd be like, no, like, babes, I'm not in the mood today. But when he was ready, it was like game time. Like, all of a sudden, I've got to be like, perform. God, you're so sexy.
I know, man.
Like,
fake the orgasm. I think we all had to.
Well,
yeah.
To protect his ego.
Yeah, of course. Sorry, guys. The cat's out of the bag.
Wait, like I said,
I'm all good. I'm good. Don't worry.
I said for me, it's a challenge accepted thing, and I can't lie. In my younger days, I backed myself. Like, I could, if a girl would, because I've heard that line before, like, we're not doing anything. These times, I haven't initiated anything, tried to initiate, but she'll put the disclaimer out. And as soon as I hear that, I'm like, all right, cool. In my head, I'm saying to myself, I guarantee, it might not happen, but I guarantee she'll make the move before I do. And I've literally set myself a challenge to say, Jay, do not touch her. Do not do anything. And surely it will happen. Sometimes it didn't, but sometimes it did. And I was happy with playing that game with myself. All right, Jay, she's locked it off now. So now the ball's in your court. Do not break. Like, this is your challenge. Don't care how buff she is. Oh yeah, she's just put on her nightie in front of you. Do not break, brother. She's doing this
I start
on
thinking about
purpose.
football, everything.
Listen, and these times you could end up staying the night in your clothes or whatever, but you don't break. And these times as well, certain times, like I said, it goes the other way around. But I was never the one to break. I made sure I played a game with myself where it's like, yo, don't do it. And she said it's not going to happen. So if it does happen, it's on her. Like, she can take the blame for it. So, yeah. And again, that's not even a
she
good
can
thing.
take the blame for it.
Listen, because
interesting words. You're using interesting words.
I'm using interesting words because that is how I looked at it back in the day.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it was about, okay, she said this ain't happening. So if it does happen, I know I wasn't the one to make the move. Do you know what I mean? And I was happy with that feeling.
Because she consented. Yes.
Well, yeah.
Which is a good thing. That's what we want.
Yeah,
people to consent.
But you know, for me personally, do you know
Jay,
what?
you're right. Like, that was a breath,
good,
man.
but
I told you I was going to put that. I was
I genuinely think this episode should be called Jay, you alright?
But then we also hear that breath. He took
stand up.
He took a breath. Like, I'm like, yeah. Guys, it was lovely being on the podcast. You'll never see me again.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Hey, guys, this is
You're definitely
last time you're seeing Liz. No, I'm joking. But you know what, Jay? Like when I was younger as well, I used to do the same thing. Like, okay, we're playing this game.
I will not break this for you.
I have resilience.
Mm.
But now, kind of similar to the story I was saying before, personally, I just drop them out because I don't like playing games with consent. Like, it is just a mad thing, and it's not, for example, for me to. Like, I'm not blaming or dissing her or anything. It's just it's an accepted game within the game of dating that we play, unfortunately. But it's how we, I suppose, bring awareness to that. But yeah, for me, I just can't kind of be with people that kind of like, oh yeah, I'm saying no, but
Dangle
still
the
do
carrot.
it. Yeah, it's like,
Yeah,
man, it's weird.
But not everyone does play games. I mean, like human sexuality is a very complex thing, and what makes us aroused and on it. And like maybe 1 minute we are and then we're not, and it might be bringing back flashbacks to other things in our lives that have happened, and that's going on in someone's mind. But all you're just seeing is someone saying yes and then they said no. And I understand it's very difficult. And you know, if you choose not to like go forth with that person, that's absolutely up to you. But we also have to understand that there's a lot of things going on for people, and it's not always a game. It is just like literally.
Yeah, and listen, don't get me wrong. Like, I appreciate that, but if it goes wrong, it's me on the line.
Yeah.
And it's me going to prison.
Yes.
Yeah.
So regardless of what you've got going on, it might have been no then, but yeah. Personally, I don't care. Like, I don't want to go land myself in a situation from, not in a rude way, but flip-flopping. I would rather, okay, you're not cool, I'll go over there. Over there. Out 5, 10, 20 miles over there. Stay there. You know?
Definitely.
And that's the thing. I'm a very proud man as well. And a lot of the answers that I've given you lot today come from that, me and my pride. I look at that and I think, I don't want rape, sexual assault, none of those tags associated with my name. Do you get it? So if you have that mindset as well, and now with all the other labels that are coming in and what is consisting of those things, like, you have to be extra careful. But again, I feel like my pride won't allow me to, and I have made mistakes in the past, but now in the day that we're in, you're a lot more wary, or men should be a lot more wary about how they're perceiving women just in general as well.
Absolutely. I mean, for me, obviously we're all either in our late 20s, mid 30s. So I think we've been lucky, like we've had that, we were part of that generation where we actually went out and played and engaged and interacted with people. But there are the young.
I was speaking to Jay about this.
And it's so true. Like, we were like lucky.
Computer.
But even like, I think anxiety disorders have occurred because of technology. Because back in the day, I will call my friend on Tuesday, go, you like on the house phone, see at the cinema on Saturday at 6, I won't speak to you for the whole week.
And
I'll walk up. But back
you just plug the social media episodes.
Thank you for that.
Oh, thank you. But it's just about
dropping next Thursday.
I'll exactly watch that next Thursday. But now it's like, if I say I'm leaving my house and you don't get back to me, I'm not leaving. Like, I don't have to leave. Like, it's such a different concept. Oh, guy, what are you laughing for? Is that something that's come up?
Nah. Clock, nothing. Don't worry. Carry on.
It's a hair feel right, lips. Like,
we locked time. Don't worry.
Okay, cool. No worries. I'll keep my number later. I'm not checking. No, but on the real. But I was thinking on the real tip. What I do worry about the younger generation who have socialized via a screen, via Snapchat. And because of that, they can't always pick up the social cues about consent. And that's why they struggle. But what do you say?
Something off the back of what you're saying and that I was talking to Jerry about the other day is, back in the day when I was younger, it was all about communication and actual physical, British Bulldog, run-outs, whatever, knockdown, ginger, throwing it back
Army
to them.
letters.
But it was all, even sleepovers, like you would sleep over at your friend's house. Now it's become obviously more people connecting through apps, like literally. And also I touched on with Joey the other day is that things like Carnival, for example.
Woo, I love a carnival.
Me too.
But I was saying to Joey how that in itself can give guys the wrong perception. Yes, it's a day where everyone's out to have fun, rah, rah, rah. And I was saying to him, look, I've been a guy that's gone up behind a girl and danced with her without her consent. Do you understand? And this was maybe going back, 10 years ago or whatever. And compared to today, I wouldn't do it.
No.
Even though it's a day where everyone sees it socially acceptable, now, again, that's where my pride kicks in. Because if I go behind a girl now, I'm worried about my face going viral. Like, yo, this guy done X, Y, Z to me at Carnival. Like, my pride doesn't want to be associated with those kind of passes. But what I was touching on is that some guys feel that Carnival behavior is acceptable
every
daily,
day.
on a daily basis. Girls are touching me at Carnival, so I can touch girls anytime I want. Okay, well, it's not right, brother.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. You can't bring your Carnival attitude into every day.
Yes.
Whether you feel it's acceptable at an event like that, even if, a woman, you might do it to a woman and she might not even say nothing. That still doesn't mean it's acceptable. But in a social environment between males and male and female, it's seen as acceptable from both sides, where a man will take that attitude from that and use it in everyday life, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
So just saying that some guys take that vibe into life and think, you lock eyes on the dance floor, I can go and start doing whatever.
Madness.
Nah. So just saying that some men carry that attitude into daily life.
I feel like coming to the end now on advocates, and that's something that me and Very really wanted to ask you. About how men can be advocates, what you guys are doing, what you guys will continue to do. And I was reading something and it talked about to become an advocate in any sphere. There's like four processes that people have to go through. And the first one is like apathy, where you're just disinterested in a subject. For instance, women's rights, you're just disinterested. And most people who are in their journey start off on an apathetic kind of vibe. And then the next stage they talk about is becoming aware, where you're just understanding and learning about a concept. For instance, women's rights, sexism, and how to apply it. And then they talk about becoming active, where you actually apply the knowledge that you've learned and you start trying to call things out, but only when asked to. And then the final sort of stage they say people should try to get to is when you become an advocate, when it becomes part of your everyday, calling sexism out, calling it in, whichever way people want to go about it. It just becomes a natural sort of muscle within someone's body. And I just wondered, saying these 4 A's, where are you guys at the moment? Are you apathetic, aware, active, or advocates, fully fledged advocates? Where are you already? Where would you like to get to if you're not where you want to be? And what can men do to be allies to women?
I think in my journey, I'm probably somewhere between 3 and 4. Okay. But what I'd say personally is where I struggle is what that advocacy should look like sometimes. So I'll give you one example. I think I told you, Jay, where I was out with my aunt once at my old workplace, because we used to work near each other. She was at a pub. I was with all of her work friends. We was there because it was the anniversary of someone's passing. So my aunt, she's very young looking for her age. Not that her age is mad or anything. We might have to scrub that. But so we was just literally standing, chilling. I was talking to one person, and like my aunt was in the way of some guy, and he grabbed her ass.
Wow.
And moved her, and like kind of slapped it for good measure.
Wow.
Now my instant response is I grabbed him and I went to just finish him. But then my aunt was kind of trying to stop me from reacting. And I think, you know what irked me the most was he was apologizing to me more than my aunt. And from there, I was like, you know what? This ain't even about you slapping my aunt. Like, now you're just fully disrespecting her now. Like, now I've got to take you outside. And I thought, well, what am I doing? Like, have I now taken this? Am I doing this now for my ego, or am I doing it for? And even is this even what she wants me to do? Because she's stopping me, but she's stopping me for my safety, my concern, or so. Yeah, sometimes I just find it difficult to know what it should look like. Sometimes for me, I feel as though I reacted the best way I should have. But then, if, for example, how much has that guy learned? Just by my natural reaction, like he only showed contrition because I got involved, and even after I got involved and we went our separate ways, nothing really went forward. If that makes sense. So afterwards, I was like, well, I done a shit job.
Yeah, but then you don't know what that then like set off in his head. Like just because you didn't see an instantaneous response or reaction, like you don't know what that could have stopped happening in the future. Like maybe he would think about it. Maybe he wouldn't. Maybe he's just that guy. But you know, you're only judged by your own actions. So you spoke up. One thing I would say is it's one thing like to speak up for your auntie or whatever, but it's like, would you speak up for a stranger? Like one of the classic things that probably every female London commuter has experienced is a man rubbing his groin on you when you're on the tube. Like,
that's mad, man.
And probably nearly every day it would happen to me when I used to commute to work. And I would like get to a point where I would like look and get on the train and be like, yes, there's a space that I can like back up into so no one can be behind me. And again, you'll see like a guy sitting there like just watching it happen. And if I see a guy doing it to a girl, I'll be like, do you want to move? Like I'll say something, but no one else on that tube would do it. Like, and I think that's it's those simple things that you don't realize what an impact that can have on a woman's day. Like it doesn't always have to be the dramatic like rape or whatever. Sometimes it is just like you're sitting there happily like reading your book and then there's a guy like this like in your boobs. In your boobs.
Yeah. I'm like, did you drop something down here?
Yeah. And like there's nothing in there for you.
Yeah.
Like avert your eyes.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, there's been a few times like in public where I've seen things go on and I've not instantly got involved. I've been, you know what? I'm not going to move. I'm just going to see what happens in the situation. I can't really tell what their relationship is. I've had probably a few of those, but then it seems like, oh, okay, I just got this. I got my cape on today. Whoa, I got that wrong type of thing. And I think, to answer your question in terms of would I do it for a stranger? Yeah. So I think, was it you that I told the other week where some madness happened on my road?
Yeah. I
didn't even tell you this. Bro,
every day.
Listen, and do you know what? It made me realize, wow, this happens bare. And even the situation I saw was a false alarm. So basically, I couldn't sleep. It was like 2-3 in the morning. So I was awake. But I'm hearing screaming. I'm thinking, what's going on here? But I thought to myself, I need to go back to sleep. I'm going to roll one and then smoke, go back to bed. But I'm like, nah. I'm hearing like screams. So I open my window, but I can't see anyone. Well, okay, cool. I'm bugging. I'm still hearing screaming. And then I like look out my window. I'm seeing like what I think is a woman being chased by like 2 men. So now I'm thinking, just got to put my clothes on, putting my clothes on, rushing. And now I'm thinking, but like it's just me and like 2 men. Now now I've got to find something that is readily available to like, I can't go out there and then I'm the new victim. Like this, I've got to go out there and do something.
Yeah.
So I'm now running out there, like, what's going on? It turns out they're just kids, they're mucking about. I'm talking to them. I don't even know why they're out there at 3-4 in the morning. But it just made me think, wow, this happens bare. Man, I have to be vigilant, you know?
Yeah.
And not even when you was talking about, for example, kind of groping up on trains. When you said that, I know it happens because I see it in the newspapers, etc. I'm like, either it's not that it's never happened in my person. I'm just not trained to see it.
Yes.
And that's been like, yeah. So even if I wanted to call out things like that, would I even know what it looks like?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, to answer your question, I'd say I'm definitely apathetic. I wouldn't say I'm at the advocate level yet, but also in terms of calling it out, yeah, definitely. It's actually part of my job to call it out. I do security as well, so I've like secured venues, etc. So I've wheeled man out for that kind of behavior, for example. So yeah, like even when I don't have the badge on, I still act with that mindset because it shouldn't be, okay, I'm officially working as security now. Now I can call it out.
Yeah.
It's just part of me, like whether I'm working or not, if you see a wrongdoing, then you have to do something about it. So yeah, I think I'm definitely apathetic, and I like to hear women's stories as well, because it lets me know, not that I didn't know, that there's some creepy guys out there as well. And for me, some of the stuff that my girl tells me or my sister may tell me, experiences that they've gone through, I'm just like, how are they still guys like this roaming the earth? Like some of the stories. So I'm just, staying vigilant. Trying, I mean, we're lucky to have women like yourselves where you can come and give us your actual life experiences.
Give you fire and help.
And listen, and put us to the sword as well, because it's what's needed.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, yo, ain't the camera ran out of battery yet?
Liz
clearly barbecued me today.
No, it's all love. But I don't think you're apathetic though. Apathetic is at the bottom, which means that you're disinterested. I don't think you're disinterested at all. I actually think you're more on the aware, going into the active, because you have done active stuff. So I don't think you're apathetic at all. And I think one of the things, the themes that come out from both of you, and they talk about it when it comes to allyship, is listening. Listen to women's stories.
You've got two women on to share their stories.
We've given you the reins today.
And that's the thing.
Us.
Hearing women's voices, respecting our voices, and like going away and doing your own processing from that. Like obviously you both clearly do that anyway. Like you say, been raised by women, so you've grown up hearing stories and whatever. So it's obviously something that you're already doing, but it's just probably up in that
wider perspective.
Absolutely. And you know, when you talk about your aunt and what happened to her, which is awful, and you're like, what more should I have done? Listen to her. When she told you to stop, you stop. You listen to her. So you've done what you could do in that situation. And I think if you'd taken it to the streets and so forth, then it would have been more about your ego. And you know what I'm saying? You're not listening to her. You didn't. You listened. And that's a very powerful thing. And I think as well, just about treading lightly in women's spaces is really important. Like, there's a lot of men that go in and go like, I'm a man and I want to be an ally to women. And they think they get what they call a pedestal effect, where it's like, oh my God, look at this man, he's trying, he's training. That's not enough. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like, I'm here to listen, but I'm background to your foreground, and I'll let you guys lead the way.
Definitely. And I think like moving forward, it's also thinking about like when you're in situations, which I imagine maybe you guys do anyway, but for people watching, like if you are on a tube like late at night and there's you and a woman, don't sit directly opposite her, sit a bit further away. Like if you're walking somewhere and you're walking a bit slower than the woman, like overtake her. Don't walk behind her. Like,
take notes, man.
It's thinking of how you would feel if you were a vulnerable person, and just remember that's, as women, that's how we feel a lot of the time. Like, I'm really bolshy and people would never be like, oh, Barry's easily intimidated. But of course, like, we've grown up from being really young, having these experiences of being followed, or men, like, when you reject them, like attacking you like verbally, or I once had a guy try to set my hair on fire because I said no to him outside a rave.
Boy, in a rave. I tried burning your head in a rave.
Definitely.
And it's just when we've been conditioned to constantly be alert. So put yourself in our shoes.
Absolutely.
Do you know what you were saying about the kind of walking at night or something like that, that's something I had to learn to get out of my head. I always used to think, it's because I'm black. It's because I'm a black man. But you know what? One day I just thought to myself, well, imagine if, statistically speaking, like half the world's population, if they fancied it, could do whatever they wanted to. I'd be vigilant. I'm not taking any risks on anything. Like you cross the road to me, I'm crossing the road the other way. Like if you're walking behind me, I'm probably sprinting away. Until I started really realizing that, I thought, you know what, there's probably measures I can make. Even though my side of the road is there, I'll just walk on this side for a bit, you know, just to give her that
peace of mind.
Yeah, that peace of mind.
That's how I am. I think about the woman maybe in front of me, and I'm like, right, it's dark. Right, you see my long night jacket. Sometimes I'm coming up, hood up, mask on. Literally, I'm a shadow, and I think, do you know what? I'm actually gonna just chill here under this lamppost for a minute. Literally lit up like a Christmas tree. Just let her walk off. Cool. Speak out loud on your phone. No one's there, but it's about being conscious now for guys.
100%.
Empathy.
And you know, I think in terms of, I think one of the questions you asked is like, what more can be done? I think there's a few things. I think, kind of speaking anecdotally, a lot of what I learned was conditioned from young in terms of what I saw. So, proper education of how the sexes are supposed to treat each other. And that kind of goes both ways in terms of boys, how you should be treating the opposite sex, and girls, what is acceptable as well. So empowering them to be able to say, I'm not dead, what you're doing, I don't like that. And being able to speak out and not just kind of accepting it. Also on top of that is, it comes down to people like you and I calling things out. There's been many times where, for example, my boys might have done something as I said, in my head, I'm thinking, well, what are you doing? But I've not had that conversation with them and said, listen, you can't do that. And I'm not saying you can't do that around me, I'm saying you can't do that, full stop. You're moving wild, bro.
It's that guilty by association.
Like I'm disappointed that I was in your vicinity when you done that. Letting man know what they're doing is not on. Like, it's not funny or it's not banter. Like, listen,
we're about to catch a charge.
Like even for self-preservation reasons, do you want to catch charges?
Joint enterprise.
Exactly. And do you know what? I've heard of like guys being put on the sex offenders list for something that sounds so trivial. And to be honest, at the time I thought, what? But it's all about consent. So I remember one time my boy was telling me, one of his guys was having sex with someone, and where he spanked her, she said, yeah, don't do that, I'm not into that. And where he continually done it, she reported him. Sex offenders list, just for not listening. Just for thinking that you're entitled to do something because you're having sex with them. Like, that's not how it works. Just because you're having sex, it doesn't mean that it's open. It's not open floodgates to do whatever you want sexually. Like if she said no, then as I was saying before, like, no means no. You don't need to. There's no like, no. There's no wink to that. It's just
mouth.
Definitely. I have to think about consistency. I mean, I run a book club called the Bad Book Facebook Club, and one of my members, Steph, shout out to her, she talked about how she just wishes that men would, make changes and be consistent and it not be performative. So I just wanted to share that. I've got to really do because men are very good at saying, not all men, but some men are like, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, but then they don't carry on with it after the next, rape case in the news is gone. People forget about it, but you need to continue with your commitments.
So, like, just on that point, I remembered another last point of mine. Of what we can do better as men. Just as you said, actually listen. Like, I feel as though I don't know why, but especially when it comes to a woman speaking out and saying this has happened to me, there's always a guy that's saying, but I know one guy that is in prison for a rape he didn't do. But everyone knows a guy. It's probably one guy. Statistically, it's very, very low that happens. I don't even need to look it up. I just know it is low. So just actually listen, the same way, I don't know, I could come to you and tell you like, yo, I got rushed. Like, you'd probably take me by my word and you listen to me and want to hear the story. just do the same thing.
Yeah. And that's the biggest shame. Like, if a woman steps forward and speaks about like a sexual assault, that people will be like, oh, but it'll be like followed with a but, not a like, but what was she wearing? But what was she doing? Kind of thing. Like, that should just never happen.
That light justification.
Yeah.
Definitely. I think listening's a good place to end it.
It is.
Yeah, definitely.
We
Thank
heard
you.
y'all today for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For
And thank you for being
And
honest,
I hope
guys.
a lot of other guys out there did too. That's what it's really about, is spreading it to the masses and hoping guys can hear you guys' experiences and just,
Yep.
implement better behavior in their lives, I guess.
And check the people around them as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, 100%.
But thank you guys.
Yeah,
man.
no, thank you for having us on.
Can we
and for
stay
being
friends?
open to
Can we
it.
stay friends? Can you
You
help on
lot
this
are- like I
podcast?
said, it's an open one.
We're gonna
You
like
lot will be back.
Block off this.
check Insta after this. Like,
yeah.
I can't lie, I'm
Very
gonna have
good.
to put our friendship on a rolling
Oh,
contract after this.
Per
Joking.
podcast. But thank you, like, again, for the platform.
yeah, no,
For
it's
your
been great,
listening.
guys.
And just coming with your authentic self and giving me and Vari the opportunity to put you guys in not only the crimson
the
wave.
pressure
Listen,
cooker.
thank
And
you
a
for
crimson
putting us
wave.
in the pressure.
Yeah, we
cooker.
appreciate it, man. Thanks a lot.
Thank
No
you.
worries. Thank you.
Bye.
Peace out.
Peace, love.